This is V, welcome to AiGentic. Today we're doing the Module 7, AI Tech Stack and the Budget Planning. This is where we will turn ideas and the learning from the previous X modules into an actionable plan. You will leave an idea on how to overcome some of the challenges, how to budget, optimize, and how to proceed with your automation idea. Let's get into it. In Module 5 and 6, we prioritized use cases and defined success metrics. Now we focus on technology and money at the high level. Technology and money are two things that make everything else real. Learning objectives for this module is to understand the stack, evaluate tools, plan budgets, and build a sustainable roadmap. By the end, you will know what to buy, how to connect it, and how to afford it. Let's start with the shape of AI stack. Think foundation and application, plumbing first and then the tabs. Core components of AI tech stack is the foundation layer, which includes data infrastructure, where the data lives and how it moves and who can touch it. You need to think about storage, pipelines, processing. Aim for one source of the truth and not 10 copies of the same data. You will need to consider compute. Should it be cloud on-premise? Do you need GPUs for heavy models or will CPUs plus hosted AI will be enough? Cloud speeds up experimentation. On-premise gives you control and data residency. For your application layer, consider AI ML frameworks. Are you going with open source versus proprietary? Pick what your team can run and support. Avoid clever but nobody can maintain it type of situation. For the integration, consider APIs, connectors, and workflow tools. If integration is weak, users will work around the system and your project will die. How do you choose the right tools? You start with the business requirements. Write the job description for the tool before you pick the tool. Check scalability. Can it handle 3x load without a rewrite and match the skills you have within the business? If you don't have the skills, include training or pick something simpler. Check if the tool supports integration with the other tools that you have, such as CRM, ERP, data warehouse, identity management. If there is no integration, there will be no adoption. You need to consider the total cost of ownership, such as license, usage, support, change management, and time. Watch out for vendor lock-in. Consider open standards, exportable data, and a clear exit paths. And do your security due diligence, such as ISO 27001, SOC 2, and DPAs, as well as possibility for regional hosting if you're not hosting it yourself. Okay, now that you know how to select your tools and the platforms, let's talk about money. You need to budget the obvious costs as well as the hidden ones. And hidden ones is the killer. There are various cost components in implementing AI projects. Direct costs that relate to your project, such as cloud or on-premise infrastructure. You need to consider software licenses, API usage, and a token spend. Other lines to worry about is data storage and processing. You will also need to do training and fine-tuning if needed, if you don't have those skills already. For the indirect costs for the projects that are often missed is the team training, change management, and hiring. For the team training, consider what you need to invest to train your end users. Ongoing maintenance and monitoring is going to be another important part of the cost that you will need to budget for. Technical debts from the shortcuts in your IT systems will play a big role. Governance and compliance workload can't be overseen. Opportunity costs when it comes to the teams tied up is another one you might need to consider. Build a 12-month view so there are no surprises. For your budget, consider phased approach. Start small with a proof of concept or pilot. Measure impact and then scale what works and retire what doesn't. Do the cost optimization early. Use perhaps serverless to pay only for when the code runs. Prefer open source to reduce the license fees and avoid the vendor lock-in. Turn on usage monitoring and alerts and keep an eye on what is going on. Use spot and preemptible compute for non-critical training. Optimize prompt length, context, and the model size to cut on the token costs. Add the monthly cost checkpoint with finance. 5 minutes and one chart should be all that it takes. Your return on investment calculation is what really matters. It's going to be time saved, error reduction, revenue uplift. Customer satisfaction and employee productivity are other important ROIs to take into account. Any competitive advantage that you can qualify should be taken into account. First, capture the baseline. That's your numbers you have today. Set a clear success criteria, and that's going to be your tomorrow's target. Track both tangible and intangible benefits. Include the full total cost of ownership in your ROI math. If ROI isn't clear, run a longer pilot or shrink the scope. Now let's stitch technology and a budget into a roadmap that you can run with. Phase 1 would be your foundation. Define objectives and initial use cases. Stand up data infrastructure with a basic integration. Schedule your skills uplift for the team. For the phase 2, go with expansion. Scale the winning pilots and only the winning pilots. Integrate with the core systems and add the new use cases with the same discipline. You will need to refine the governance and publish ROI updates to win people early. Keep each phase small, shippable, and demonstrable. When implementing the projects, avoid these common pitfalls. Avoid starting without the clear objectives. If you don't know what good looks like, the project never can be good enough. You need to start with a clear understanding of your data needs and make sure you work with a clear and reliable data. If you're going to skip governance and ethics of the project, it's likely to stall halfway through or after it was implemented. Avoid choosing the tech that's too complex for your team to handle. Start simple, start slow, and grow. And don't forget the cost of the maintenance, monitoring, and the model drift. Your change management plan for the users is going to be paramount. I'll pause for a second and I'll give you some examples where I see other businesses going wrong. They think implementing AI is a one-off exercise. But once you've done that, you realize that open source model that you picked or even the ChatGPT model that you picked will come to an end. OpenAI will announce that another model is released and the previous model is being sunset. The impact for you means redoing part of the project to prepare your AI infrastructure for the change, such as testing the new model on the existing data, make sure it is as reliable and producing the same output as before. It means reliably sunsetting and transferring users from one technology onto another as your technology providers change and upgrade. You will need to take into account as your people upskill, they will be more productive and there will be a change in how they remunerated or how their jobs are being handled. And you will need to be prepared for your customers and partners sometimes raising risks and showing you situations where AI hasn't necessarily worked. You will need to have a plan and a change management in place to discover bugs later once you went into production and fixing those quickly without taking the whole system offline. For the success factors, focus on securing executive sponsorship and the name sponsor early. Work across functionality from a day one. Make sure multiple business functions supporting you and your project together. Ensure you set clear expectations for the project and celebrate incremental wins within your organization early to bring people on board. Stay anchored on the business outcomes and not the model scores alone. Focus on that ROI and always build a continuous learning culture. Show and tell every sprint, then iterate, reassess, and improve. Let's look for a case study for a small to medium-sized business. The company is the mid-sized manufacturer which has a limited technical resources, £50,000 starting budget. Approach: begin with predictive maintenance using a cloud services. For the phase build, ROI is tracked monthly. The results they were able to achieve is a 30% reduction in downtime and about 120,000 annual savings, which is about 2.4 ROI in a year one. Lesson is to focus, prove value, and then scale. Let's have a look at their transformation and implementation timeline. It took them 9 months from beginning to the end. For week 1 to 12, they put the foundation in place, such as discovery, feasibility, infrastructure, data collection, and team training. They delivered a small pilot on one line and one team. For the week 13 to 32, they went into development phase. They build, integrate, test, and train users, ship a functionality system. For week 33 onwards, they went into continuous deployment. It was a phased rollout, monitoring, optimization, and expanding to more sites or more use cases. They focused on these key success factors, showing interim value every 2 to 3 months to all of their stakeholders. They mixed quick wins with the long-term moves, such as doing some pilots and then deploying and monitoring. They maintain a flexibility for course correction. By using the cloud software, they could change their approach quickly, and they budgeted across fiscal periods to avoid the stop-start. Okay, your turn. Take a piece of paper and sit down and figure out this in 2 parts. The part 1 is technology stack design. Identify your business needs from that skills perspective, data infrastructure. Consider tools, consider mapping integration points and scalability that you need. For the part 2, go over the budget planning. Estimate direct and indirect costs on the back of a napkin. Create a phased budget and define what kind of ROI you might be delivering in. Your deliverable would be a draft implementation plan with the tech stack components and a 12-month budget with the various cost points that we just discussed. It's unlikely that you are able to do it as just in this session as a part of your exercise. You will need to speak to your business, understand what suppliers you have, what skills you have. You'll need to have multiple stakeholders around your business to support you with the right decision and the right information. Once you've done it once, this will become your foundation for rolling out AI across your business. The key important takeaways: start small, think big, begin focused, and plan to scale. You will need to balance build versus buy, and you will always need to consider your total cost of ownership, impact on skills, and integration. When rolling out, measure continuously, track your ROI, and pivot based on evidence. This is our last session in AI Foundations workshop. Thank you for watching all the way until the end. Looking back at all 7 episodes, you now have a prioritized use case list, you have a trigger process output method, a governed approach to risk, a blueprint for delivery, and a stack and a budget that you can take back to your team. I appreciate all of these just drafts. There's only so much you can do in a YouTube video, but it gives you a foundation to build on. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for being part of this, and I can't see what you're going to build. If you like this video, consider watching other ones that I'll put related over here. Please do like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, as always, leave them down the bottom in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one.